Awesome. Awesome. So I am online, just checking my audio, video, and opening up my chat, just making sure I'm audible and visible. But if you are online watching me in smiley. All right. Very nice. We are on day 33, episode number 33 for 100 days to unlock your emotional mastery. I'm going to unmute my you. All right. So, welcome back to the series of unlocking your emotional mastery. And today we are on a very interesting episode where you're going to put your creativity in action. Okay. Yesterday and day before, we saw how you can approach creativity through using your left brain and right brain, and we dwelled on how to integrate both these approaches in order to bring and boost those creativity. Okay, now we're going to put that in action. Okay, because imagine if all your ideas, you're able to generate ideas, because yesterday and day before yesterday we spoke a lot on a lot of strategies as to how you can activate your left brain and right brain to create that kind of creative ideas, creative habits. Once it become habit in you, now you need to put those thing in action mode to implement that, to see the outcome, right? Because what is the use of you sparking that genius in you, but it doesn't manifest in something concrete, something tangible? So today we'll see what could be the tips and strategies that we can make those ideas into reality. Okay, I'm going to be quickly sharing my screen and let's dive into it. Just want to make sure my screen is visible to, right. Okay, so what we will see today is from dreaming to doing. It is important to take that right brain effect. That's where it is allowing you to go beyond your imagination and think beyond the routine and conventional methods, right? But you should not be dwelling on it, because that's when, uh, you know, people become daydreamers. So for them, they remain in daydreaming. During the daytime, they will have to put that into action, right? And dreaming has to happen during their sleep or, generally in the nighttime. So metaphorically, during your daytime, you'll have to put that dream into action so that you don't dwell on only dreaming, but you become a manifester also. Okay. How do you do that? By using your left brain and right brain. Because this entire series is dedicated to develop emotional intelligence using your own brain power, which is your logical brain and emotional brain. Whether you're a parent, or you're a leader, or you're a full-time mom, or you're a businesswoman, or a student. Okay, you may be a student now, and you may be, needing this in the future also. But right now, in your as a student itself, there are a lot of things that you can do to enhance your academics excellence and also advance yourself in your career. So it is important, irrespective of any roles you play, any gender, any age, any location you are from, anybody as an individual who has brain, all of us have brain, and all of us have these two hemispheres in the brain working constantly. Either we're not aware of it, that we are using this logic brain and emotional brain, or we are dismissing, ignoring either side of it. So it all depends on how much you're making use of that kind of a brain. So depending on personality types, people overly use left brain, and there could be people who overly use their emotional brain because maybe the situation or they are conditioned that way. But here in the series, we're going to break through all that. Imagine for 100 days, I will be telling you, what is your left brain talking about this particular skill, how does your logical brain want to approach about a particular skill that we are going to talk? And how does it treat it in your right side brain? So, and how do you bring that to the midbrain? Because midbrain is where you're emotionally intelligent. So all these strategies that we will be discussing step by step. I have a particular format that we will define a particular skill that we are talking about, and we will go deeper and wider into taking that skill in a different angle. Today, I must be talking about creativity in action. Yesterday was planning session, or and the day before yesterday, maybe to give you that, instill that importance of why creativity and then boosting your creativity, okay, as a habit. But today, when we are talking about action planning, putting it in action, who is needed, who needs this most? Everybody, right? So tomorrow maybe I'll take a different angle for a parent or a leadership. So that is how I go through these episodes in a much more deeper sense, because talking about emotional intelligence is not theory, but it is so practical in us that we just need that right kind of awareness and right kind of tapping. Because emotional intelligence is a wisdom that always is within us. Whether you're a child or a young adult or a grown adult, um, constantly we are emoting, whether you like it or not, whether you think you are, expressive or not, but constantly we are giving a lot of data through our words, through our actions, through our thoughts, through our feelings, through our vibes, through our energy. We do that. But why not develop it in such a way that it is helping you at your work, at your, responsibilities in family and outside family? So this series will tell you three principles that we will be approaching any particular talent or a skill through your left brain activity and right brain activities and midbrain activity. Second important principle you need to understand is emotional intelligence is always within us. It is not a research study. We are not picking up from outside. It is very much within us. It is applied. It is seen very much with a child or an adult. You just have to pick up that cues. It is very much within you and your own mastery experiences you would have had. So you go back and think about those successful moments in your life. You must have been using these both your logic and your emotion data very well. When I say emotional brain, it talks about creativity, imagination, entrepreneurial abilities, vision thinking, and also risk tolerance, resilience for you to come back. All these are your right side brain, intuition. All these, apart from this, emotional processing also is there, right? You need to understand your own emotional status of mind, and you will be able to read the same in others. Thereby, you can embrace other people in your team. You are a natural leader. So tap into those moments to understand where you exhibited this excellence. Right. And third important thing is, um, in the entire series, there are six strategies that we will be discussing. First is to define in general definition, and then approaching the left brain and right brain of a particular skill. That is talking about EQ definition of a particular skill. And then talking about pros and cons, how is it beneficial, and how it is going to have a if you overdo on any skill, how it is going to have an overkill on it. And then who is it applicable, where you can apply this, and how to apply the approach. Six steps using your left brain, right brain, and midbrain. And then about case study, because we will pick up a personality who's relatable, who's a little bit famous, familiar. I'm sorry. And how have they applied this particular skill in their life? These will definitely help us to convince that it works. When it is working for somebody, it definitely has to work for us. And then you're going to start rewiring your brain. So the third principle is you need to give that essential time and practice to put your brain into a mood of from unlearning to learning, and or relearning. But it does take its own time, because it needs that time. We are talking about a muscle. It's like any other muscle. You're going to gym and trying to work on it. It gets fit only upon practice. Having said this, today what we will see is from dreaming to doing, learning actionable strategies, strategic creativity using your logical brain, combining that imagination with practical planning, and staying persistent. That is the key element here. You generate ideas, you plan really well, and for you to action, you need to be staying in that ground, because your results cannot happen overnight. and then you just cannot keep changing your course of action, because that's not how your brain will enable you to keep generating ideas. Because the more you keep changing the course of action, the more the brain will start feeling that it is not being rewarded. You're not taking those ideas and putting into action to see the results coming, right? You need to see that um, fruition for you to get motivated to keep doing it. Otherwise, the brain will stagnate. Okay. Now let's see the general definition of creativity in action. What does it mean in EQ language? Okay. Creativity, as such, it is thinking ability in order to discover new angles to the common approach, to the routine. Okay, this we saw yesterday and day before. Okay, if you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend you to go back to the previous episodes and watch that, because not just creativity, we've even spoken about, we're on day 33, right? So we have dwelled on a lot of key skills like resilience, proactivity, problem solving, emotional agility, emotional insights, all in different angles also. So please do that. You'll be able to connect a lot of dots. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel so that whenever I come live, you can get notified, and also be, wherever, when you see the video getting published, so you can immediately grab that insights. Now, apart from the general definition, we are going to approach EQ definition. That is how to approach through your left brain and right brain directly. Okay. So the logical brain says it needs to develop structured planning, breaking the data into actionable steps, manage execution strategically. Right brain approach says you're using your right brain, it says it can create intuition, allow flexibility, explore and enhance original concepts. You are going to touch that originality. You remember we spoke about a personality where, the case study where Elon Musk and his first time thinking principle, how he uses that very effectively to innovate a lot of things, and he's been successful in a lot of innovation in his portfolio. So it this particular right brain will enable you to touch that fundamental core. Okay, now is the power of execution. Now these both brain is going to help you. Okay, it gives you the structure and shape, it gives you that, you know payment, that is the way forward, so that within which you can actually play around and experiment. It can also kick your intuition going on in the way, because you are going to explore the unknown zone. Thereby you're also going to use your flexibility in case if it's something is not on your way, it's not as expected, you will have to immediately adapt to another course of action and keep moving. So the point is not to get stagnant there, and you're going to explore and more and enhance that core fundamental truth until you see that, you're going to question that assumption and see what is there, what you have not, conventionally been able to see. Till such point you can, explore, but provided there are a lot of things that you need to take in control and consideration. That will happen if you can enable your left brain to give you that shape and structure. So that is how you take the blend. So you don't go just wild and, broader in your experiment and research and exploration, and not able to come back to the reality, because reality is where you will find the resources, a little bit of structure, and you will be grounded so that whatever you're experimenting will be of any use to the to your team or to your family or anywhere. But if you're in isolation, you are left free to experiment whatever you want. But if you want to bring about some changes in your society, in your family, in the industry, you'll have to work within that environment, within that boundaries. Okay, so we'll see that and actionable strategies. But the power of execution is you're going to have an increased achievement, turn creative ideas into tangible, measurable outcomes, experience deep satisfaction and a sense of purpose. And it is going to boost your confidence, self assurance through successful idea and implementation. Okay, it's very important that you should know the power of execution in order to, because the more you generate, the more it should not get drained. You need to have a repository, you need to have a backup, you need to have something in action so that you increase that achievement rate. Because it is important to, it is a creative idea somebody has not yet seen, even you have not seen. You're going beyond that, your imagination, and doing something um, unmeasurable, but you will need to make it measurable. You need to make it smart goal that is specific, measurable, actionable, relatable, and time bound, within which if you can work, then all the results can be enjoyed by everybody. Otherwise it will just be another exploration and not referred in history at all. And then it has to give you that fulfillment, that just for the sake of exploring you want to go. Maybe you can go in a nomad research mode, exploration mode, or voyage. But if you are working as a team, you need to be well within that reach, right? Yet experiencing that deep satisfaction. So that can happen if you have that sense of purpose, because the purpose will include everybody on your journey. It will not exclude. In EQ language, one of the key and very important and my favorite competency will be to develop a sense of purpose in an individual. Okay. So developing that sense of purpose has 6 characteristics, which we will be discussing in deeper when when you can catch up with me on emotional intelligence resources. But in my community, I go in fast track mode to help people, my members, to get into that purpose statement point shooter as and when they come into my community, because that is the first point of action. Once you have the clarity of where you want to go, your purpose, you can turn your goals into purpose driven, you can turn your actions into purpose driven, your wants and likes, your passion and dispassion, your team, your goals, long term, short term, everything can be driven by purpose. So you can align it that way. After that, whatever you work, you don't get bored. You will be intrinsically motivated. That is the power of having the sense of purpose. And then it is going to obviously boost your confidence. Okay. Challenges in idea realization. Resource intensive. Now, there could be roadblocks when you want to have your ideas implemented. Okay. There could be many things because it is not in your purview. Sometimes you might need an approval, permission, resources, some structure to work on it, right? To begin with. But at that point of time, there could really be roadblocks at any stages of life, any stages of that journey. It could be in the beginning, or by the time you want to really implement, maybe you're running out of resources, or during that course of exploration itself, you might find some challenges. What could be those challenges? In the interest of time, I'm just picking up 3. One is resource intensive. Clearly, it requires significant investment of time, money, energy, and talent. Talent means people. Sometimes we need people. You're working on a project and you're trying to something, create a innovative product for your company or for your business, for your customer. Maybe you need that kind of an investment. So you don't need people. Maybe you need that technologically driven people to give you that kind of a coding. Okay. Sometimes it is energy depletion also. You just cannot go wilder. I mean, it is only humanly possible to a certain extent. You'll have to consider all that. Sometimes time could not be there because within the restricted time is where maybe the project deadlines are coming up and you just cannot go with the creativity. You'll have to go with what is in your hands. So the first block could be either of these combination. The second one is risk of failure. Because we are walking into the unknown, there could be a risk of failure. Not all ideas as planned will lead to fruition. I want to, at this point of time, I want to share with you that how innovation happen in the industry, provided you have the resource in your hands and you have the backup done. Right now, the industry is churning towards a trend of these all those successful innovators and all those leaders having walked that path of failure and being able to sail through that and being successful in their expertise. They are picking up initiatives or projects which for sure 80% they will fail. How about that? So imagine that risk tolerance that business person should have. Imagine that kind of a robust team that that person should have, the investment that they would be ready of, because they know for sure 80% this will fail. So for turning them that 80% into success, having that 20% as a failure is going to be a huge task, right? So that is where the market is churning into. The world is, advancing. Now you look at AI disruption right after pandemic. One pandemic was there disrupting the entire healthcare and well-being of people because of some distractions happened earlier. But now the other side is AI disruption is happening. At the same time, they are bringing space accessible to mankind. At the same time, there are many things which is also advancing, right? We thought, you know, we would never. There are some business conventions setups that they never wanted to get out from their comfort zone. They never thought that they will be doing decision making or running a board meeting on online. It was it was an impossible. It was never expected. But when the pandemic hit, everybody, running the meeting, not just running the meeting, there were billion-dollar decision making were happening on online. So that is how the world has changed. And after pandemic, it is not the only convention system. There has to be an hybrid, and people have to adapt and embrace that kind of changes. Otherwise, that particular business is already dissolved. So you as a person running that business, or you are in an employment where if you have to embrace that AI disruptions, you be the person who's running that AI, you know, instead of letting yourself run by AI. Only those people who can run AI can sustain in the world. On that note, execution complexity is also there. Turning ideas into reality can be really challenging without a clear-cut plan. If there is no little bit of clarity, little bit of structure, people go hey their ways. It'll fizzle down. And then importance of creative action. Loss, what happens if you don't have ideas? Great ideas remains. What happens if you don't put your ideas into reality? It will remain unrealized without the real world impact. And there were many people, my own friend circle, my I known people are not, they may be super idea generated, but what is missing is execution. Benefit is if you can make a meaningful impact, capitalize on those creativity as well as disruptive industries, and also know your strength and areas of weakness. Be very confident in it, accordingly pool in resources, and accordingly take steps, so that you don't get hit by failure, neither you get demotivated. You will keep doing, even if it's a small idea, put that into action. Okay. Startup successes and failure, according to research, all 90% startups fail, often due to poor execution rather than poor ideas. They may have a brilliant ideas, but they may not have that necessary team, necessary investment, necessary time and energy, and focus. The motivation level could be haywire. They may be not able to focus at all. This young generation, especially after pandemic, it's been disrupted because of social media. Relationship is getting depleted. There's a dearth of time. Actually speaking, there's a lot of time, but their focus is taken away with various other angles. So that has to be really corrected in order to have a long-term well-being. So because of this, successful implementation is very, very crucial for turning all your creative concepts into viable businesses. Whether you're small time running business or large scale business, anytime it can be slashed down if you do not have this uh, persistence. Okay, you'll have to keep speed of implementation is the key. Who is it needed? Is it only needed for entrepreneurs who is launching new ventures and products, or leaders who drive innovation and change in organization, or artists turning concepts into final creative outputs? It is also needed for people who are running family. How creativity can be instilled in your family so that that mundane thing will not kick in. At the same time, there'll be a lot of ideas generated because family itself is a team, right? Different dynamic of people are existing, and anything, if you can instill that value systems, open dialogue, open communication, brainstorming, and give and receiving feedback, making that transactions harmonious, that will definitely reduce your stress and give yourself, everybody in the family, a little more of bandwidth. What if you guys, in the previous episodes, I've discussed a very, very good strategies where you guys have a, reminder for each other, how you can back up each other, and at the same time, how harmoniously you can conduct every daily transactions. So similarly, creative habits can also be developed. Okay. Now comes entrepreneurial application. So entrepreneurs use creativity and persistence to develop disruptive products and services. They map out detailed launch plans and execute them step by step. Leadership in action. So it is important that if you're a leader, you have to demonstrate, you'll have to walk the path to inspire your team member, right? So leaders turning visionary ideas into organization change. They motivate teams and drive innovation through multi-phase implementation plans. Creativity in professional fields, artists, designers, writers, they transform concepts into finished works, right? Only then the creativity is valued because it is in monetary effect. They create prototypes, finalize designs for market launch, right? This could be one way to create, even for your small business, right? You can create a prototype to understand and take the feedback. If you're doing something digitally, use all those applications to get feedback, survey, have a one-on-one with your customer, run a meeting to understand what are their needs even before you launch any product. Okay. And personal project realization can happen where individuals, freelancers, having a passion projects turning into reality through planning and execution. Hobbyists can, create successful ventures by consistently producing and publishing content also. Now is the 6 approaches. Now that you've seen the importance of it, you know where to apply. Now we'll see how to apply. Okay. So the left brain activity, the first step for left brain is to break down ideas. I can't insist more on this particular thing because this breaking the complexity gives clarity. The first step is concept. Start with initial idea or vision, and then break that idea into smaller and manageable steps and execute that by implementing each step systematically. It could be 10 minutes a day that if you can, uh, you know, noting down your ideas, start writing down your ideas. Yesterday, we saw how free will writing can instigate that creativity. If you already have that creativity kicked in, then the next step is to start noting down somewhere and create that repository. Okay. If you're a leader, maybe create an idea lab where you can just pull in those free will ideas and take a note of it, track it, make it as an actionable tips immediately. Whatever is, could be done immediate, you'll have to prioritize and immediately take action and reward that person who has given you that idea. That'll, that'll instigate their motivation to keep giving you such creative ideas. Similarly, in family, if you find any brilliance, any genius coming from any age group in your family, please, inspire and motivate each other so that that will keep happening because the brain also gets stagnated. It needs that reward. That reward could be externally or internally, but most of the times it is supposed to be rewarded. Only then it doesn't stagnate. It'll keep giving you that kind of thing. Okay. In our series, we'll talk a lot of tips, hacks as to how to keep your brain, really happy so that it does what is needed to be done. Right. And implementing it is important. So take that 10 minutes of every day as a small step. 10 minutes is still manageable and it will have a compounding effect. Typical example is this. I decided to come online for 100 days, whether it is 30 minutes or 40 minutes or 50 minutes. So that itself is of course, sometimes I conflict, the little voice comes in, but the moment I brace through, the brain is getting that sense of achievement. Every other time I finish the episode, right? So that will kick my, every other time I see a comment, that itself is giving me an inspiration and motivation. So please do comment in the comment box if you feel it is valuable and something has really helped you. That is what that is going to motivate me to do more of these strategy sessions. Okay. Then visualizing success, that is your right brain. You're going to use creative visualization to imagine the final outcome. Work backward to identify the necessary steps for achievement. So entrepreneurs can envision product launch day and then imagine that you have fixed your date. You're announcing that date, and from there work backwards. What is needed, or you be very clear that step by step that you're taking, and then it is going to build you to go to that level of having the launch day effect. Okay, I'm going to bring this here. All right. Okay. All right. So the next one is about, okay, where are we? Right. Setting achievable milestone is again your left brain, where you're defining the goals, setting up clear objectives for your project, and create timeline, establish deadlines for each milestone, and you're going to track your progress, regularly assess and adjust your plan accordingly. Because who can do this? If you are a solopreneur, it is important that you reflect, you review, and then course correct. If you're a leader, it is even more important that you should have the review, reflection happening so that you can adjust your plan. Okay. So create that kind of a timeline, and then review plan also. Collaborative creativity. This is your mid-brain activity where you're going to typically you're going to involve diverse minds to refine that ideas and new perspectives. Because I told you in the beginning, brain as an individual brain style can only do that much. Maybe as an individual, my brain style could be that it is logically driven. Sometimes the emotional processing could be little more, a little more has to be focused. But then the logical brain is free flow and it is helping me pick up a lot of data points, figures, facts, figures, numbers, and all. But it may be different with your brain style. What if we both come in contact and we start collaborating? So it becomes a compounding effect, right? So whatever my emotional brain processing could be different from yours, because the combination of you working on your brain style of left brain, right brain could be different. Similarly, I may be dominating in logical driven. You may not be yet there, but you still have your different logic working on. Either which ways, if there is a combination of brain styles working in a team, in inside the family, it is a wonderful opportunity to open up a lot of ideas, a lot of perspectives. So in our family, whenever there is a challenge, some challenging situation where we are confused as to, what decision, what option should we take, even if it's a silly thing, there's nothing silly as long as it's something that has to be clarified. There's nothing silly. Everything is encouraged. Sometimes about life where we don't have experience, we reach out to our own parents, elders in the family to understand how they have uh, you know gone through this kind of a situation. Why? Because it is not one, we want to celebrate their wisdom. Second thing is we want to understand maybe our brain style is not allowing us to go to that extent. Maybe through their experiences and their, way of approach could be different. That can also help us. Similarly, we have a daughter coming up with any problem. We open up, and I always tell that don't only approach me, always approach your dad also. And why not take the advantage of different brain styles existing in the family, right? So similarly, hold regular brainstorming sessions with your team to improve that concept area, and embracing flexibility purely right brain, staying open to adjusting plans as challenges or opportunities arise. For example, filmmakers might refine scripts based on their early review feedback also. It's a typical example, right? Thereby, I'm going to talk about a case study from the film industry only, and he is synonymous to creativity, Walt Disney. You all must be knowing about him as, he's a successful, visionary. He was an American animator, entrepreneur, one of the first few who revolutionized the industry. He's best known for pioneering that American way of animation, iconic characters like Mickey Mouse, Disney's innovation in animation, entertainment, and theme parks, how it has revolutionized the entertainment industry, right? In fact, if you're not aware, the first Disney theme park in California was founded in 1995. Okay, and thereby they have expanded their, uh, entertainment wings from movies to TV shows, starting from Disney Studios, Pixar Studios, Marvel Studios, right? How could this happen when he started? And there are so many things. When I did a case study, there are a lot of lessons from Walt Disney can be learned. But in the interest of time, I just want to let you know that when I look at his brain style approach, I was more keen to understand how his left brain and right brain approached. And his creative thinking skills are often associated with how the creative strategy and a problem solving approaches in different ways. Like, you can actually categorize into dreamer, reality, and critic. So from my research, I understood that a person can be in this role. When you're a dreamer, you brainstorm ideas without judgments and limitation. You seek that kind of ideas and from others, not just your own. Of course, you can brainstorm your own ideas. You can start individually taking a note of it. That is why that setting 10 minutes habit. Yesterday we saw beautiful strategies as to how to create those habits, creative habits. If you have not watched it, please go on to watch it. It is episode number 32. And then comes the realistic. So the realistic person is, you gather all those ideas, but not immediately act on it, but you evaluate those ideas generated. Because sometimes it is important to, make it practical and feasible. You remember that said, if you can make any goal into a smart goal, then it is not just realistic and practical, it is also actionable and time bound and specific also. So the measure and review is becoming very easy. It gives a lot of clarity for people involved in working on that. Okay, you see how smart goal fixing is the left brain and idea generation is going to be the right brain. You see how it is blending. It is backed by both these approach. Then there is a genius going to happen. Okay, and then comes the critic also. So at this point of time, you need to analyze and refine those ideas to ensure they are aligning to your purpose, to your larger goal all the time. So if you don't have that review mechanism all the time going on, you need to have these kind of people in your team, but you just cannot have that critic override the dreamer or the realistic people, right? So it has to go hand in hand. Maybe this particular type or existing within us also. A lot of times that little voice comes and asks, right? But the daydreamers may not, maybe muting that part of it. All right. So that has to kick in. That is why it is important to have the blend of the left brain and right brain activity all the time in you. Okay. Having said this, let's see what his kind of creator brain is actually saying. So Walt Disney, visionary creator. His profile itself is a visionary creator. He could see something that people did not or care for, dare for those time. Talking about 1920s, 30s, 50s. Okay. Creating captivating characters, stories, and worlds. The animation industry, it's a world by itself, right? If you just watch one animation movie, you're like, it takes time for you to come out of that world. So there are a lot of favorite movies out there, starting from Mickey Mouse, Laurel Hardy, those days, right? And even now, there are a lot of films have come. Kung Fu Panda have been our favorite ones, and many more have come. The list goes endless. And if you think about the even documentary, movies right now have uh, beyond imagination of animation created. It's just impossible to even um, think about how it'll be a world of parallel universe. But through animation, they are bringing it to reality. Okay, and then planning meticulously developed animated films and theme parks also. Why would somebody have to create a theme park? Out of the blue, why would people think that way, that there needs to be a theme park which full of characters, and how nice it'll be for the children. So they did have a sense of purpose to cater to children. Animation is basically for children, right? And persistence, overcoming setbacks to turn dreams into reality, is the key sauce. This is the main thing. It is not just generating ideas, it is not just executing and leaving it. It is persistently acting on it until it gets into fruition. Okay, that is the message. So, with his left brain skills, Walt Disney was able to excel in project planning. He broke down complex ideas into actionable steps for animated films and theme parks. You see, although he was really good at imagination, all that creativity was happening, but he relied on planning, strategically, dividing the complex ideas into actionable steps for animated films and theme parks. Okay. Then about his right brain, he is known for boundless imagination. He created a visionary concept, right? His creative thinking revolutionized the entertainment industry. But he took a blend of his left brain as well in order to sustain that creativity. If you don't have the structure or boundaries, resources in place, and persistence in place, then it won't be able to sustain. I always have noticed a pattern in the series. Whenever we talk about left brain and right brain, there's also a midbrain strategies that I discuss. Especially those midbrain strategies are having a roots. They are rooted with the value system. So my next series will be on values, where I will talk more about how to instigate values in an EQ way. Okay, which can be easily relatable, and it is easily used in any of these transactions in life, whether it is for personal or professional growth. Okay. Then uh, his overall transformation leadership dictates that he inspired others to believe in his vision. He fostered a culture of creativity and innovation that transformed the entertainment industry as such, right? How many of you love this example? Give me in the comment box that you loved listening to case study on Walt Disney. Type in the comment box Walt Disney. Okay? Walt Disney inspiration. Then the key sauce is coming here. Resilience in idea pursuit. Access your ability to follow through on ideas despite the setbacks. Because resilience is key turning vision into reality. So that is why I started off this series itself with resilience. We went deeper and wider in resilience, covering all angles, whether a parent, leader, entrepreneur, student. So we also covered logical and emotional resilience. In case you've not watched this, please do that so that you can connect the dots, because all these skill set are subset of emotional intelligence, because every skill set has its own advantages, right? And you also have to be aware of its disadvantages also. That is, you should not overdo on it. So that is the beauty of this series, that I will give you that nuggets that usually people don't give it. Okay. Then the key takeaways here is ideation. You need to cultivate creative thinking and innovative ideas. So ideation should be part of your everyday activity. Even if you're, full-time mom, you have your own routine set. You may think that I don't have a need to ideate and create something innovation. You can always, yesterday was episode for that. How can you create creative habits into your mundane routine in order to keep your right brain activated? It is not, you don't have to, you may not have a project deadline. You may not have the need to disclose your creativity. But if you want to keep your right brain active, it is important to keep that creativity going on. What did we all discuss, in terms of strategies and all that? Go to that episode to look at it. Okay. Now the execution, it is not just you activating it, but sometimes you need to also give that, you have to tell yourself, right? Okay, now that I created this, now it was implemented to see that fruition. So it is important to develop strategies to turn concepts into reality. How are you going to do that is something that we just discussed. Breaking down complexity, creating structure, having a brainstorm, and then have a considerable review plan on it, and be flexible so that if there is anything that you need to change, you need to adapt. And then persistence. Persistence is a key to keep it all intact. So staying committed to your vision through challenges is the glue, is important. Now, at this point of time, if you are thinking, Where do you stand in ideation or execution, or in your readiness or persistence level? Visualization, how often do you do that, and how often do you collaborate with others to bring in such ideas? I have a tool for you where you not only can access your creativity skills, you can also access a lot of other skills that we will be talking in this 100 days of unlocking EQ. Okay. It is coming to you as a questionnaire format. You can fill in, punch in the correct answer. Even if it is not correct, it will show you what is the correct answer, and then followed by tips, 3 tips for each answers. How about that? It is going to generate around 20, 30 strategies for each and every topic by itself. So it will be a fun learning. You need to get that access because it is out there for a cost. But I would like to give it to you for free of cost. If you can engage in the comment box, put your story or one strategy or one hack, whatever has worked for you, in order to, if you have had the creative mind somewhere that you have put your creativity into action. So, how has it felt for you? How did you experience that? And what made you, get that success? So if you can give us any one hack, anywhere you're successful, as a parent also, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as a student, somewhere it would have helped you. So give us that one hack. We would love to hear it, and it'll inspire us. If not, at least give us some two, three top insights that you gained from this episode. Either which ways, if you can engage in the comment box, I will be able to spot you and ask you for your email ID separately, and then give you your 100% free coupon code to access this awareness quiz bundle. Okay. Then you can join my masterclass. This is exclusive for women, where we will fast track your learning on approaching your left brain and right brain. In fact, finding your unique brain styles. Okay, now all these the series episodes will talk to you about point shooter for activating your left brain and right brain. But which brain style are you in? So I will give you that tips and measures and ways to find your brain style, your unique brain style. And if you can understand your brain style, you'll be able to start reading the brain style of others. How about that? Because it is not practical for everybody to take a report, right? But if you can understand your brain style, then you'll be able to, you are step ahead, right? You are advancing yourself, both your personal growth and professional, because you're going to be better in communication, you're going to be better in relationship, you're going to complete your project because you know clearly what are your strengths and areas of weakness. How do you do that is something that I will explain to you with opening up 3 secrets to approach. How do you enhance your focus using brain style? How do you enhance your decision making? And how do you make yourself a driven person using brain style reports? Okay. And not just that, there are open free resources available in my YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to it yet, please do so. And also like and share the episode if you really liked it. If you feel it is valuable, please do share it with others, because emotional intelligence is needed for everybody in this world, especially right after corona pandemic. We are in mental health pandemic, and EQ, emotional intelligence, is the 21st century demanded skills. So please do circulate it to the people whom you think it is needed. Okay. And if you've not yet subscribed to my Spotify, do that, because I'm coming to you in the format of podcast, telling the contents that we will be discovering in this 100 episodes in a shorter version and point shooter in 20 30 minutes in podcast format. And I'm also giving a storified EQ learning to learn main 8 competencies of EQ in the platform called Substack. It's like a story that you can read what happens in an Indian home setup for an Indian mom. It doesn't matter whether Indian mom or not, but as long as you're able to relate, it'll be fun to see what's happening in that home setup and how they can overcome that. If you are the one who can, relate it, and you may be smiling, okay, this is what I've been through also. So this is also coming to you in a platform called Substack. So please do subscribe. I've given all the links in the description along with my masterclass. So get registered there. Whenever the masterclass is going to happen, it gives you the notification reminder. With that being said, all I want to let you know is embracing creative journey. Remember, creativity doesn't stop with an idea. In the consistent effort to transform that idea into something, that is what is going to truly matters for you. It is not just for artists. It is not for bigger entertainment industries or successful innovators only. It is needed for a normal human being like you and me. It is needed for busy moms. It is needed for full-time moms. It is needed for a leader, entrepreneur, to handle the daily transactions of life and business or work. As long as you're able to tap into that creativity, that creative brain, and making it as a creative habits in your day-to-day life, then it is becoming a habitual pattern in you. And thereby it is effortlessly done. Okay. All you have to do is just make sure that if you can practice one or two strategies every day, whatever you've been listening to this episode, so that practice, put it in, if you can take that practice and put it into action itself, will give you a leeway to enable any skills that you want to learn in this emotional intelligence series. Okay, whether it is creativity or proactivity or problem solving skills, it is important to put that awareness, that spark, that idea into action. Right? I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you tomorrow with another title. Until such time, stay tuned and please do like and share the episodes if you really felt it is valuable, and also share it with others who needs it most.